Plaintiff Kamau Katarifu says a month after dating the defendant, he moved in with her. Despite their age difference, Kamau claims out of the blue the defendant asked him to leave. And after he called the police, she went ballistic and started destroying his property. Defendant Kinsey Nicholas says Kamau pushed his way into her home, but she claims it was 2 weeks after they started dating. Kinsey admits that she asked Kamau to leave, but insists it was only after she caught him emailing other women.
All rise. This court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Greg Mathis presiding. You may now be seated.
Start with you.
Okay, I met Miss Nicholas as a rideshare driver. I picked her up on a ride. We had a good conversation. Found out that she was from Chicago, had recently moved to Gary. I grew up in Chicago. I lived in Gary now.
Well, you should know not to cheat on her. I don't even know what this is for, but I believe you cheated on her. You look like the cheating type, and she looked like she don't play that.
Well,
I don't.
Honestly.
Is this what it's about, cheating?
Yes,
Thank you.
It has to, yeah.
You know a cheater when I see one. Go ahead.
Well, honestly, I wasn't a cheater.
You a cheat?
No, not at all. I was faithful.
She's like a church lady.
She had me take her
What's your favorite scripture? She can't give me no scripture.
I can't think of one now.
I got you, sir.
She had me take her to her ex-boyfriend's house twice.
Go ahead. Stop. Forgive me for making a premature conclusion about you.
Yes, sir.
All my apologies. Now you go ahead, sir.
Okay, so
you look like an innocent man.
No.
What's your favorite verse? Y'all, go ahead.
So,
go ahead. Give me some background.
We exchanged information. I gave her a couple more rides, and we, had great conversations. So we decided to hang out. And I mean, there was a big age difference, but
because
because the conversation was so good, I didn't think that was that big of an issue.
Yeah, that's what they call it now.
Yes.
Go ahead.
So we began to date, and at the time I was having an issue where I was living because I had a slum landlord. They refused to repair anything, so I was in the process of packing to move, looking for a new place. We talked and we decided on a temporary basis for me to move in with her.
Okay. Let me just compliment you. You present yourself very well in court.
Thank you, sir.
If you were a criminal and I had to sentence you, I wouldn't give you much time.
Thank you, sir.
And so those of you who go before judges and you know you're guilty, come looking like that.
That's good.
Can't get this man no time.
No.
You might not even win. I might not even be able to give you no money. Man, I almost feel sorry for him. That's what you do to the judge, y'all. Make the judge feel sorry for you. You'll get probation. All right, you give me your background.
Well, I met Mr. Kamau back in May as my driver. I had actually had him like 3 times in 1 month, and I never noticed that, but he kind of noticed that. We had really good conversation during one ride, and at the end of that ride, he gave me his business card and told me if I needed any photography or just a ride on the side, a side ride, and to give him a phone call.
I'm not touching that.
So, we
just
started
not gonna touch it. Go ahead.
Well, we started talking and stuff, and everything was going good. We went out. He actually took me out on Mother's Day. Everything was going good until he came to me with a sob story about his place, and he needed a place to stay.
Let me listen to him about that. Yeah. But so far, once again, you reinforcing everything I heard about the man. Took you out on Mother's Day. Hard to find a decent single guy unless he was married and trick you. Okay, that's the other part. Yeah, you'll get your stuff throughout then, doctor. All right, let me hear what happened.
Okay, so we discussed it, and it was myself and her, her sister, and her guy. And the agreement was for each of us to pay $200 towards the rent. I paid over $400 before I even moved in because there was an electrical issue where the pole on the back of the house actually fell down. The wires were down and everything. So I paid that before I even moved in towards my contribution towards the rent.
Okay.
And I moved my things into storage, most of them, but I had a lot of stuff. And I moved some things into her house, you know, by our agreement. You know, she was at my house back and forth, saw some things, and she said, well, why don't you bring this until you find your place, which I agreed to.
How long after meeting did you all do that?
It was about a month. Maybe a little.
1 month.
No.
2 weeks.
No.
2 weeks.
No.
It was 2 weeks. It was 2 weeks. It moved really quickly. It was 2 weeks because when I met
You
him.
really like that conversation, Doc. You really like that conversation.
Because when we first started talking, he was already having problems with his house. So I'm gonna say like 2 weeks is when he was like, okay, I need a place to stay. Can I move in?
I want to stay with you.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, but we had talked about that. We talked about our previous relationships, how we should not do that at all. So I felt like he kind of pushed his way into my house. I had just moved out there, and, you know, single mom of 2 kids, and I felt like, yeah, he just pushed his way.
Yeah, 2 weeks may have been a little premature.
It wasn't 2 weeks, sir. We met in May.
For your children, primarily.
I didn't move in until almost the end of July.
All right. So how did things work?
So I moved in, and I had quite a few things that I moved into her house. And I mean, from the time I moved in, she was complaining about I had too many things.
Yes, he had.
So I actually ended up getting a second storage unit and began to move some things out, which then she began to complain about, why are you taking your things out? You know? So I was like, well, how can I win here? You know? And in the meantime, you know, I mean, I was looking for a place. It was strictly on a temporary basis.
How long did you stay there?
I stayed for 3 weeks. And
Is that all?
I found a place
Just 3 weeks.
within a week and a half after I left there. So I hadn't planned to stay.
How was it those 3 weeks?
Some good, some bad.
What was the bad?
Well,
we didn't know each other, you know? We didn't know each other. So, I mean.
What type of things were going wrong?
Everything, our communication. You know, he gave me a tablet. I noticed he was emailing females. And it was the day before our incident. He ended up texting a female, I wish I had my own place so you can come over. I'm at my friend's house and all this other type of stuff that I did not approve of. So that's why we here.
All right, tell me what happened to cause you to sue her for the damage and withheld property.
On the 18th, I came home and, you know, tried to engage in some conversation, was getting no response, you know, just being ignored. And then just out of the blue, she began saying, you know, I want you to leave today, like right now. And I thought she was kind of joking because a lot of times she would say, I'm too serious. I take everything serious, you know. So she began packing, you know, and throwing
Helping
things.
you out.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And, you know, I was fearful that it was going to escalate into something physical. So I called the police. When she found out I called the police, then she just went ballistic. And began throwing things outside.
To call the police.
Tell me what all she did. You have a list of items in your evidence or what?
Yes, I have a list that was damaged.
Page 1?
My 13-inch MacBook Pro was damaged. I had another 17-inch MacBook Pro that was damaged. Epson printer, Harman
49-inch TV.
Yeah, well, those were things that I didn't get back.
And when the police came, what happened?
They said that they couldn't do anything, that it was a domestic issue, that they suggested that I take pictures, which I did, of what was thrown
Did they at
out.
least talk to her and say, hey, chill out?
They tried to, but
Okay.
she didn't. But I honestly think that she wanted to stop smoking, and she actually that day had put on a patch, but she had to step 2 instead of step 1, and I think that played a big part in it.
That's the end of that. Give me a cigarette. You know, if that's what it does. No, I've had a minor smoking habit for many years. Just for 3 cigarettes in the evening for some reason. Me, you, and President Obama need to be honest.
Did he quit?
I don't know whether he quit. He claimed he quit, but then Michelle caught him out on that balcony. Caught him on that White House balcony, Doctor.
What are you doing?
Linda caught me a time. All right, ma'am. So you tell me your version.
Okay,
of what
so
happened.
this is what happened. The day before the incident with me throwing the stuff out, a couple of days before, I had told him that we needed some space, and he did not take that into consideration. He looked at me and said, "Wow," and did not leave and continued to stay. And so the next day, that's when I went through his phone and stuff, saw that he was messaging other females. And that morning of the incident, I did put on a nicotine patch to try to stop smoking. But my emotions was just all over the place that day. He came in the house at the wrong time. And then I had told him before, I don't like when people come in my house and not acknowledge me. He came in, I tried to have a conversation with him. He didn't want to talk to me.
Did he say, "I don't want to talk right now," or?
Just ignoring me, not saying anything, and I'm trying to
acknowledge your existence.
Exactly, you got to acknowledge me when you come in my house.
That's
the big problem.
You didn't do that, did you?
I didn't do that. It was actually the opposite. I tried to engage her, and she.
No.
This man seems like he has more class than that, unless he's really fooling me, and it's not easy.
Which he is. Which he is. So, he wasn't acknowledged. I'm trying to have a conversation of how I really feel. And I had told him that I think that it would be best for him to leave. We did agree on 2 weeks to stay at my house. He stayed longer than that. And then so when he did not want to leave, I started to pack all of his belongings and put him in the living room. As I was packing his belongings, is when he got on the phone with the police. I felt like he didn't have a reason to call the police. I wasn't harming him. I wasn't harming his stuff at the moment. So with him being on the phone with the police and everything, I had to give him a reason. But he took it to a whole nother level with calling the police.
You took it to a whole nother level, throwing his things out.
Well, he should have listened the first time.
What is it you say she has that she won't return?
Everything was on the list. I had
withheld?
2 televisions. I had TV stand, DVD player, Fire Stick. I had a gas grill, smokeless grill.
Ma'am, what do you say?
Everything I got is gifts. And I got it, but...
Golf clubs, you play golf?
I enjoy golf just like he does. And they're female
You know
golf
of her
clubs.
to play golf?
She never played golf before I introduced her to the game.
Really?
Where would you play, ma'am?
Huh?
Where would you play? Okay, it's funny. Have a good day. Judgment for the plaintiff.
No hard feelings, right?
No hard feelings.
Okay.